Baldur's Gate 3 is an unhealthy addiction that I can't help but feed. Let's talk about it. Hello, everybody. My name is Marsh, and today I'm going to give you my first impressions of Baldur's Gate. Like I said in the beginning, this game is basically turned into a total addiction for me, so as you can tell, this is going to be a positive review slash first impressions video. Before I jump into it, there won't really be spoilers. I'll be talking mostly about mechanics, my thoughts on the game, and if I do show anything, it's going to be very early in the game. Nothing that you won't see within your first hour or two. But let's go ahead and get started. And if you want to leave a like and subscribe, feel free to. I would greatly appreciate it. So Baldur's Gate 3. Ever since this game came out, it wasn't even on my radar originally. I had played Divinity Original Sin 2 for a little bit, and it was fun with my friends when I played it, but I never played it solo and never fully completed it. It was actually this year when I got into it and I just got swept up with other games and other things to where I didn't go back to finish it, but I did like it at the time. And so when this came out, I'm like, oh, that's something I may play in the future. Looks pretty cool. And then the hype built. And then you see it's reaching these peak numbers on Steam. It's doing these crazy things. And I'm like, okay, well, what's going on with this game? Let me take a look at it. And I think the clip that actually got me to buy the game or get hype for it was when we saw the clip of everyone kicking the squirrel. And I'm just like, whoa, that's pretty crazy with the choice and the things that can happen. And it's brutal with how the punishments are handled. And I'm like, okay, I'm sold. I'll get into it. I'm also a huge D&D fan, so seeing how the mechanics worked with the dice rolls just automatically made me want to jump in, because this game is basically D&D incarnate. If you've never played D&D before, but you're interested in playing D&D, but you also play PC games, pick up Baldur's Gate. Definitely will give you a taste of what D&D is like. Don't expect it to be like that in person all the time. You still have to be a narrator, and you still have to role play and talk and do things, so you can't be super awkward, but it'll definitely give you a taste of the world. And it has the same exact spells, mechanics, and classes as D&D. I'm pretty sure they have the rights to it, if I understand correctly. I'm not an expert, but that's basically the gist of Baldur's Gate. It's D&D incarnate. Now for this first impressions video, this is basically also going to be my review, because this game is immense and huge and over 300 hours of content, so there's no way I'm going to get a full complete review out in timely manner. I have about 35 hours into the game, so I think I have enough played to give you my full opinion. Now, this game's great. It's probably going to be my game of the year. Starfield may be the only one that tops it, but I won't know until Starfield comes out with that. But let's go ahead and jump into what I liked about the game, and if there's any gripes. The first thing that I love about the game is the role-playing in the game. So you'll, of course, make your character in the very beginning. You can make any class you want, any race, any gender, yada, 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 and make yourself how you want to be. And based off what you choose for your class's race, background, and gender, the world will react to those choices, and you'll get certain perks and certain things that go against you. Pretty basic when it comes to roleplay mechanics and how that works with history and background checks. Now, where the game really shines is the choice of the roleplay itself. Like I mentioned before, the popular clip that's been going around is this squirrel. It comes up and bites your toes, and you have a choice to kick it or shoo it away. And if you choose to kick it, it goes flying. There's plenty of choices like this where you can do multiple things. For example, in the first 30 minutes, there's a choice where you have to go and you're talking to a brain, and you can kill the brain. You can, and the brain's in a human head. You can kill it, you can pull it out, you can save it, and it'll become your buddy. There's multiple things you can do. There's even later in the game, there's other choices where when you're trying to save a character per se, you can hit a button and mess up and end up killing that character by accident, and that's your fault. Or even if you rest too long at your campsite and you spend too many days there, you can cause someone to die on a quest because you didn't save them in time. That happened to me just today. There was a character that was in trouble and they wanted me to save them, and they kept calling for me to save them, but I was in the middle of another quest and I had to do a long rest because otherwise I was going to die. I was out of spells, had no health. So I did my long rest, and he said you had to come save me, and then I get the journal update and says this person's dead. So everything you do, including how long you rest, how long you're somewhere, what you say to someone, is taken into effect and all the choices you make matter, which is just crazy to think about. I haven't even scratched the surface of the game 35 hours in. I still haven't reached the title of the game, Baldur's Gate, and that's just saying something with how deep this world is. Along with the choice, you can also do things like romance certain characters. You can choose whoever you want to romance, any innkeeper or any trader, any like person in your party. It's your choice to make, and you can do all the things you want. There's even speed runs for sex percentage, whoever can have sex quickest. Pretty funny. But that's just an example of choice that you also have in the game, and freedom to roleplay and do what you want. The other thing I was impressed with as well is the actual side characters and NPCs. There's characters that join your party in the beginning, and they're the main ones that are like on the cover of the game, and you get to know them. And they're not your basic like, oh, here's an elf, here's a tiefling, here's a human, here's blah blah blah. They all actually have a background and a depth and a story to them if you're willing to dive into it and learn about it. All of them have certain afflictions, curses, and conflicts that they're dealing with. I'm not going to go into detail on what any of those are. I'll leave those for you to discover, but they're actually very in-depth, and a lot of the characters are in-depth, not just the main NPCs. There are other ones as well. There's certain clans that have their own politics, and you'll have to make a choice between doing one decision or the other decision, siding with one group or another, and the choices ultimately have consequences when you end up having to kill the whole other group, save another group, espionage, or you can stay out of it and let them kill each other. There's multiple things you can do, and all your choices matter. And the characters are rich as well, and they all bring this game to life. Now, in terms of gameplay, it's pretty basic. It's basically D&D. When you start a battle, you go into initiative. That decides when you're going to attack, who attacks first, and in what order. You have your thing at the top that tells you when you're going to attack. You have your spell slots, your attacks, your cantrips, all the different things and items that you can use. You get an action, a bonus action, and then depending on like what class you are, you may have other abilities. For example, I'm a druid, so I have wild shape. I can turn into creatures, and they have their own abilities and things that they can do. It's basically D&D. So like I mentioned before, if you wanted to get into D&D, this is a good way to learn how the combat actually works in D&D and how you can do all those things and what does what and how classes work. Now, it's basically turn-based. I will say sometimes the game is quite punishing. You can't just run into battle all the time, and you do have to be strategic. I'm not on the hardest difficulty, I'm on the balanced one. But even then, I've gone into situations where I talk to a character, I try to deceive them, and I fail, get like a 1, and then all the characters attack me, and a whole group attacks me and bombs my whole group at once and kills me. And you die in like 2 seconds. So there's punishments for what you do and the strategy you take. So it's not always best to go head forward into a thing. It's good to have a little sneaky sneak to the side, or sneaky sneak to the other side, and be prepared in case things go down in a bad way. So it makes you think about your strategy, what you want to do. Or you can use your environment as well. There's things such as you have a shove mechanic, and if you're next to a cliff, you can push a character off a cliff and kill them that way. You can use your environment. If there's something that's collapsible, you can collapse it and cause it to smash and kill someone. There's every aspect of the field is to be used. And that's something you have to remember when it comes to the strategy, because the enemies will definitely use it against you. And there's times where if you're not in the right terrain, you will get royally fucked. In terms of gameplay, that's pretty much it. You also have your classes and subclasses you can go through to get different abilities and try different things out. There's multiple choices, and I already know I'm going to be doing multiple runs on this game and different characters and different builds. Overall, though, with my first impressions, I am addicted to this game. I can't help but play it, and like, I didn't even want to make this video because it's taking time away from playing the game, but I know I have to do other responsibilities such as work and school and other things, but I can't help but play Baldur's Gate. Within a week, I already had 25 plus hours, and if it wasn't for me going on vacation this weekend, I would probably have over 50 hours in this game. I feel like this game is probably going to be my game of the year. Like I mentioned before, the only thing I could think of that might top it is Starfield, but who knows? This game's amazing. And another kudos as well to Larian is no microtransactions. This is an example of what the gaming industry should be. Give us a game, what it is, We pay $60 for it, and that's the game itself. No more. Give us a full game. Don't have DLC plan before a game's even out. Don't have microtransactions in there to help you pay to win. Don't have microtransactions for skins. Give us a game where we can do everything like in the olden days before DLC even existed. It's what everyone wants, and it's why a bunch of developers are freaking out and can't handle that Larian is having so much success. If you guys have started Baldur's Gate, what do you think of it so far? If you haven't, I'm just saying, go buy it and play it. It's amazing. With friends, it's even better. It's one of the funnest, most hilarious, and wackiest times you're ever going to have. And it's so in-depth. You can literally play this game probably for the whole year just by itself. It's well worth the purchase. And it's probably going to be Game of the Year. And I'm so happy that it's having the success that it's having. As you can tell, I love it. Let me know how you're feeling, though, in the comments down below. Other than that, though, thank you for watching. If you leave a like and subscribe, that would be greatly appreciated. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.